Start your engine.
Race fans, you are tuning into the only motorsports show in San Diego. Your host, Dave Stahl, and the racing school teacher, Britney Sandoval, are taking you to the green flag, covering everything from your top-notch national drivers and crew chiefs right down to your local kid racers and racetracks. Strap in. It's Checkers and Wreckers on Racer Radio.
All right, folks. Welcome to Racer Radio FM 96.1 AM 1170.
The answer.
Yeah. So we have got some special guests in the house. I have a sneaky feeling she's never been on radio before. Grab that microphone right there. Pull it over there to you. And you are?
Jennifer Gabrielle.
Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
Hi.
So we're here to talk about what?
Well, we're going to talk about some important work that the nonprofit foundation I work with does. And we are going to call a very special person who the foundation is helping, and who is an incredible guy who is in need of some help right now, and
right.
We're going to reach out to him.
And that was kind of you weren't even expecting for that, because this accident just happened just recently, correct?
Yeah. Yes, unfortunately.
And the name of your foundation is
Road2Recovery Foundation. How long
has Road to Recovery been around?
Since 2000. So for 25, almost 26 years.
Wow, 26 years.
I know.
And how many, roughly how many riders you've helped in that?
We have helped almost
roughly
200 riders, and we've spent about $9 million helping them.
I feel like there's a live tally on the Road to Recovery
I think
website,
there probably
right?
is, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if there's a listener out there that
so
wants
that goes
to know
tell
this.
me that you are a nonprofit and you function strictly by donations.
That's correct.
Yeah, and when we say donations, it probably can be anything. It could be a car. It could be money. And, I've been using this adage for people that maybe get to a certain age and you don't have – you don't need those right now. But let's say you get to a certain age and you don't have children, you don't have family, but yet you got a house.
Yeah.
Or you got property.
Yeah.
Or you got a boat.
Yeah.
You could put that in your will for it to go to the foundation.
You sure can.
But see, a lot of people, they don't think that. They let the government take the
Yeah.
house, or they let the government take their property. Never, ever, ever, ever let that happen. Make sure whatever it is that you have goes to a foundation. Yes, and we'd like to see you go to this foundation because it does such a wonderful thing. And kind of give everybody just a little snap. What does this foundation really help? Who do they help?
So the foundation was founded by Jimmy Button, who was a famous motocross racer, back in the day, as we like to say.
Before you were born. Yeah.
No, but it really was. It was a special time in action sports back then when Jimmy was, racing. And
they weren't doing anything for riders back then. If you got hurt, you got hurt.
Well, there's still pretty much not, that's where we come in, is there's
Right.
not a whole lot of foundation or a lot of structure around what
Right.
happens when an athlete gets hurt.
Right.
And so what we do is the result of what Jimmy and his mom and a lot of other people who helped out along the way have learned the hard way. When Jimmy was hurt, they really had to navigate his whole injury and his recovery, and
More than just the financial.
oh, so much more
The
than
paperwork,
just the
decision making,
and
the transport.
Yeah, transportation
Like, all that,
alone.
right?
I did a segment on local television here, and I wanted to bring in handicapped vehicles. Mm-hmm. And the station called me in. They go, "What are you doing?" I go, "What do you mean, what am I doing?" "Well, why are you bringing in handicapped vehicles?" I says, "Just imagine if you became handicapped. How would you get from point A to point B?" And they go, "What do you mean?" I go, "You don't know about the different companies out there that special, because modifying a vehicle, you just don't modify a vehicle. You got government hoops to jump through. So these people are few and far between." So they let me do it, and I had all kinds of vehicles that you could say. We got so many phone calls.
Yeah.
People calling in saying, "My brother just became paralyzed."
Yeah.
We had no idea how we were going to get him from point A to point B. So this is my goal in life. When I heard that you were coming in, and plus, how much air have we given to this organization, and we will continue.
Lots, but not enough.
And we will continue to
Thank
do
you.
so
Thank you.
because it's all about education.
Yeah.
Because nobody is prepared to have somebody in their family or even themselves to become paralyzed. You're just not ready
Focused
for it.
on racing.
Yeah, you don't know about doctors. You don't know about insurance.
Yep.
You don't know about
You
anything.
help with all of that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We help negotiate insurance bills.
Is there support for the family? Because that's a shock for
That's
the
a psychological
whole family,
thing,
right?
all in a world all in its
Yeah.
own.
It is. There's the person. One of the people we're going to add on
A
the call,
caller?
Yep. Is Mike Young, and he's been with the foundation for a very long time. But he himself is someone who was a top pro motocross racer and was injured, suffered a spinal cord injury, and has been in a wheelchair for 28 years. And so he'll be joining us, but he has really learned the impact that it's had on friends, family, and really reaches out personally to the family members of the injured riders.
And this is where, people say, oh, how terrible it is. They're paralyzed. There's always a reason. And much as I hate to say it that way, but I think when people get into the organization like yours, there's your reason.
Yeah, well, right.
I mean,
I know. We don't.
you don't want it to
Yeah.
be, but if it's just, you're not going to want to just stay home and be a vegetable.
Yeah. Well,
So here's a gorgeous, phenomenal organization that could give you a new life, really.
A purpose.
A purpose for being here. You may not be able to ride motocross. You may not be able to do all the things that you were able to do, but you're able to help, because I can't talk to anybody that's paralyzed. I just can't, because I'm
not in a way with any.
I'm
true-
semi-functional, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Before we go into
You
commercial
can
break,
tell she's a school teacher. You see the school teacher
I love
thing?
it.
I looked at the time. Before we go into commercial break, we've been talking about support. And there have been some long-term supporters. Could we give them some love right now?
Since
before
you
we...
gave to all the mothers.
I know I did.
I love that story, by the way. Yes, thank you for that.
She's a school teacher.
At the bottom.
I love it. Oh, so Dr. Patterson at Casa Clina, Mike Young will talk about Casa Clina and the crazy important work that they do
Sure.
for injured athletes. Perfect Step. John Box at U2 Mobility has been a huge part of the foundation. We'll talk about him in a bit. Angel MedFlight is incredible. They transport people from, that's a big one.
Were you just in contact with them? Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll
Yep.
talk about that
Yep.
later too.
And motorsport.com is a huge contributor. They round up for every purchase. They offer a roundup to donate to
Wow.
Road to Recovery.
Oh,
so
really?
that's amazing.
Oh, wow. Like directly to you guys.
Yep. If
wow.
more businesses did that,
So let me ask you this. Could you, if you're a motocrosser and everything's fine and you're out there, is there an insurance policy that you could purchase against getting into an accident and getting hurt that you're aware of?
and you'll forgive me because I'm pretty new to the foundation. I've only been there about 6 months. I think that the AMA offers some insurance policies. I don't know exactly what they
Maybe
cover.
we should look into that and then actually have the company that carries that insurance actually have them on. Because if you go to the desert, let's say you go to the desert this weekend, you can buy a policy to where if, heaven forbid, something was to happen, a helicopter will come out and get you, bring you back for free.
I know that there is a medical flight company that offers, you can purchase insurance.
You can do that, but I was just wondering about, let's face it, motocross racing in general is not the safest sport on the planet.
It's not.
There's a reason I'm in a cage.
And we will let you out one day. We haven't decided when, but we may let you out
Yeah,
one day.
but motorcycles are so fun.
Yeah.
I still have my cage.
They
my
are
KX
really fun.
100.
They're very
All
fun.
right, well, let's go ahead and take a break and then come back, and then we'll start the show
full
all
hour.
over again.
Full hour.
And then we're going to leave and just leave her here to do the hour. What do you think?
That's what she wants.
That's what I think. I could tell by the look on her face.
Fine.
Yeah, it'll work out fine. Racer Radio, FM 96.1 AM 1170.
The answer.
Race fans, you are tuning into the only motorsports show in San Diego. Your host, Dave Stahl, and the racing school teacher, Britney Sandoval, are taking you to the green flag, covering everything from your top-notch national drivers and crew chiefs right down to your local kid racers and racetracks. Strap in. It's Checkers and Wreckers on Racer Radio.
All right. What did he say? Oh, yeah, he loves it. He loves to do that. He has that little clipboard. He doesn't want to turn your mic on. Will you turn on Brittany's
I'm
mic?
here all day.
There we go. Well, it cost $1. This is Racer Radio FM 96.1 AM 1170.
The answer.
Segment's brought to you by Friends of Jacqueline Foundation. That's JACLYN. This foundation is absolutely amazing. They take care of children with brain cancer, tumors. They help the families, navigate through this terrible disease, whether it's hospitals, doctors, financial, places to go, people to see. So please go to friendsofjacqueline.org. See if there's something you can do to help out, or if you know a family member or a friend that's having to go through this terrible ordeal, definitely give them the website. That's friendsofjacqueline.org. Hacienda Casablanca Mexican Restaurant and Cantina. They just started their brunch on Sundays. And they're also dealing with Leukemia Society. One of the owners' granddaughter has got leukemia at the age of 7. So they're doing fundraising all this month and next month. So please stop by 700 North Johnson Avenue and see what you can do to have a great Mexican meal, and see if you can do something to donate. All right, I got to run downstairs and grab a guest. So, Britt.
Only just met in person on Friday, and I think it's a good thing that you live kind of far from me, or else we'd be like partner in crime. I kind of feel like just immediately. Anywho, we have Road to Recovery's Senior Director, Jen Gabrielle. Welcome officially.
Thank you.
We did start a little early. But thank you. I know it was a bit of a drive for you, but you know the importance of Road to Recovery, and you'll probably get more across in studio and help navigate all the special guests we have calling in.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. So just if people are just joining us, give a little background to Road to Recovery and what they provide. And then we'll be at the next segment really giving a true reason why they want to support this.
Yes, thank you. So Road to Recovery was founded in 2000 by Jimmy Button, who was a former pro motocross racer and really, kind of at the top of his game, and had a crash that wasn't even a bad crash. It was just a kind of a tip over, and ended up really, being paralyzed in his life. Really impacted. Career ending. Well, not for motorcycle race career ending, but Jimmy he's a legend, so he just picked a different career to succeed in. So, but that's a different story. So Road to Recovery has helped, through Jimmy's injury. He and his mom and a team of other people really have learned a lot about what works, what doesn't work, who to call, who not to call, and just ways to navigate the, traumatic brain injury and spinal cord injury. It's just it's a maze, and they really are helpful the foundation is really helpful in just helping people through it. And one person who's going to be calling in pretty soon here, Mike Young, is our athlete director. And he's really the first point of contact for athletes who are injured.
Okay. Good to know. And as mentioned in the previous segment, it's more than just, and you alluded to it, more than just financial, which is going to be a burden, but there's so much more than this, the financial. And so they're just a call, a text, an email away.
Yeah. So, I mean, the financial part's huge. Don't get me wrong.
Yes. Sorry.
But
but you recognize there's even more.
There's a lot more, and there's a mental health initiative that the foundation provides.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, and there are different. Mike will tell you more about Mike, but Mike Young has been in a wheelchair. He suffered a spinal cord injury and has been in a wheelchair for 28 years. And so I always kid around with him, like he didn't know it at the time, but he was doing like R&D and product research for guys who are injured now.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he knows. He's like, I tried that wheelchair, I tried that piece of equipment, and it didn't work. But, through his extensive knowledge of being, in the same situation that a lot of these guys find themselves in, he's able to really provide actual help that he has cultivated over, a couple decades.
Does he work with manufacturers of handicap equipment?
I think he does. I think he works with some of them.
Right.
You can ask him.
As a consultant, say, okay, well, and he probably tests a lot of different equipment as well.
I want to simplify things as a middle school teacher, just reminding our listeners, Road 2 It's the number 2.
Two,
Recovery.
recovery.
And if anybody follows me on Facebook, I put several links down. I posted several links. One
Thank
is
you.
just kind of to the general website that you have that has a ton of stuff. And then I also put a link directly to both links to each of the 2 events that are coming
great.
up.
Awesome.
The golf tournament, which
Yep.
is right around the corner.
Yeah, May 25th.
And then the Nikki Hayden
Yes.
event that is June 8th, I
Yep.
believe. I put each of those links up.
Thank you.
And then it seems you have a special link for another guest that is going to be calling in as well. So listeners who follow me on Facebook, I have a lot of important links, and it will get you there quickly.
And you'll send this show to them. And if you guys can put the show on your website, that's another good link.
And Michael Lewis is doing that as well. He reached out to some big heavy hitters.
Right.
I think Racer X, even one of them, who also will be sharing this.
Right. And so what we'll do is, even if you're not here, and, because we'll try to bring, Road to Recovery up every Sunday. And once you tell us that, it's on the website, any show you do with us, it'll be given to you to put on the site.
That's great.
Because we are kind of like the dummies in the room.
Speak for yourself, David. Not just kidding.
No, we just act like we don't know anything about
Sure.
Road to Recovery, so
course.
we will ask the questions that maybe a listener that doesn't know anything about Road to Recovery would
coming
ask.
from the car world that I was mentioning, or
Yeah.
the boat world, and
Right.
they haven't heard of that.
Oh, yeah, because it's not just motocross.
Not our listenership, yeah.
No. And their program doesn't deal just with motocross.
That's correct. I was just going to say that.
It'll deal with anybody. I mean,
Action sports athletes.
action
At
sports.
the professional level.
At the
Yeah.
professional level. And we do provide, guidance and help and support for non-professional, amateur.
Because I was going to say, you're not going to say, you fell off your
Sorry.
bicycle. We're not talking to you.
No.
You're not high enough up the ladder.
But you can steer them in the right direction.
We can steer them in the right direction.
Yeah, it may not follow all the
Our
protocols
bylaws
of the bylaws. or
require
whatever.
us to, stick to a certain protocol, but outside of that protocol, we can definitely help
Well,
people.
you're the answer guys.
We try to be.
You'll have more answers than John Doe or their uncle or their brother.
Yeah.
And, try Googling stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's stuff you just can't, except you guys, it pop up if you Google it, I'm sure.
Well,
Yeah, I thought that was interesting when we had Jackie Marin in.
Yeah.
Yes, Nikki Hayden's
Jackie's great.
fiance. I love her.
She's
Talk about
amazing.
someone. It's a good thing we don't live
yeah.
nearby.
I know, right? The three of us wouldn't get anything done.
I would just leave and go someplace.
But she said she wanted to have, hold some sort of event, keep his memorial alive. And she said everybody kept turning me to Road to Recovery. Everybody said, go through Road to Recovery. Go to.
Yeah, that's great.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break. You are listening to Racer Radio, FM 96.1 AM 1170.
The answer.
All right, folks, welcome back, Racer Radio, FM 96.1 AM 1170.
The answer.
Segment brought to you by True Line Wheel Alignment. Tony Cortez, over 40 years experience. That guy can set the alignment up on anything and everything, race cars, drag cars, circle track cars, and your pickup truck and your passenger car as well. Nobody does it better. 210 West Bradley Avenue, right there in El Cajon. Give him a call, 619-258-1800. Love the fact that he supports Racer Radio. We've got a very special guest in the house. We got Jennifer Gabrielle. She is the senior director for Road to Recovery. And we got Giggles in the house.
I have listeners texting me.
What are they
Sorry.
telling you?
Not repeating on what
So, hey, boss, you in the box. Mr. Dean, hello. Do we have our Look at him looking around like a lost sheep. Hey!
All right, hopefully we have Mike. Yeah.
Push the red button. Do we have a guest on the line?
I hear it.
Can we talk to him?
Yeah, there's a guest.
Oh,
Mike
look at that.
Young.
The man, the myth, the legend. He fixed it. This must be Mike Young.
Yes, it is.
Your ears must have been burning because we were really talking about you, let me tell you.
Yeah, my left ear is. That AirPod was burning big time.
It was all
Okay.
it was all coming from Jennifer. I just want you
It's
to
all
know.
good stuff too.
Isn't she awesome?
Yes.
You couldn't have found a better director, let me tell you, brother. Couldn't have found
Jumped
it.
right in.
Got energy to boot, man. I don't know how she does it, but yeah, she works them late nights.
Yeah. Well, you got to keep her on radio because she was real nervous when she walked in the door, but I think we've got her broken in.
I'm feeling the same way as her. I'm on the starting gate with the 15.
Right?
Nice.
It feels weird. At least you don't have to wear a headset and talk into a microphone.
Oh, well, we can get him one. We can get him one. So how you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks so much for having us. I appreciate you guys shouting out our foundation, Road to Recovery, and giving us some love. And
Well,
you know, we don't get a lot of love most of the time. We work in the dark side of things, so we're grateful for anything we get.
well, we've kind of dedicated. I mean, you become. We're just going to talk about you every week. You know, maybe not have you guys call in, but we're going to put out the website. Every Sunday, there's going to be a segment that we talked about Road to Recovery.
Yeah, all the way through June.
All the way through, well, even beyond June. Why are we stopping?
Well,
in June?
very specific, I guess.
Oh,
With
but I
the
mean,
NICKY
we're,
HAYDEN.
you know, because again, we were talking earlier, you never know when you get yourself into a situation and you become paralyzed. So we can't put a time limit on this program because the biggest problem people have is that they don't know about this program. You know what I mean? You don't have the financial wherewithals to put up massive billboards, buy TV time, you know, radio. I mean, you just don't have it because all the money goes into the riders and anybody in sports that end up, you know, becoming paralyzed. So we will be definitely doing it. And then I don't know if you have the capabilities of putting these shows that we do on your website, but if you do, then we will announce that to everybody because we try to make these shows informational. Like, okay, Brittany's not the dummy. I'm the dummy in the room, and I ask all the questions that somebody that, you know, experiences a problem like this and doesn't have any answers to any of the questions that's going through their head. So we're going to donate that to you every time we do a show with you guys on. So
Why don't
Thank
you
you.
walk us through the process of what happens when an athlete gets hurt?
So somebody
Just break
goes,
it down for
Somebody
us.
goes down Saturday night, wakes up Sunday morning, and he's paralyzed from the waist down. What's the next step?
So we have on the ground, we have the team managers, obviously, and we also have the chaplain at the event. And normally the chaplain's the one that will message me that, hey, we had a transport. And so I'll get that call. And it doesn't matter what time it is. It could be any time. He just lets me know there's a transport.
Sure.
And sometimes I've seen that on TV. I've watched it, and I go, okay, I'm just kind of watching to see, did he get up? Did they walk away? Trying to kind of prepare myself for what's going to happen next. And so we do that. And then they'll get me in contact with either a family member, wife, girlfriend, friend, race team person, somebody that's affiliated with the athlete, because normally the athlete's kind of incapacitated at the time. So I'll do that. I will briefly get a prognosis of kind of, hey, what's the situation? What's it look like? What do you know so far? And then that kind of gets my brain ticking so I kind of understand what's going on. And then once I kind of have that avenue, then we start to kind of taper the program. Everybody's is different. So I taper that program around this person, this individual. And then there's a little intake form that I will send out once they say, yes, please, can we have some help? Which 90% of the time that normally happens because you're lost in this maze. Most people have no idea what's happening. So they'll fill out our intake form. The second we have that intake form, I'll ask a bunch of questions. I'll go through and make sure they've got insurance, make sure they have proper coverage if they do, if they don't. And then I also let them know that the event has coverage as well. So we want to make sure they know about the event coverage because sometimes they don't know that. And it backs them up a little bit. And I've had cases where I've had no insurance, so that changes the whole spectrum of the whole thing. But so we get that going. Once that starts, then I determine the action plan from there. And I basically, like I said, I base it on the individual, what the injuries are, where their location is, and in retrospect to where they live, so that I can kind of see, okay, they're in New York, they live in California, and I'm going to need to get them from there to here. And the reason I like to know that is because healing is better close to home. So I try and get athletes closer to home, closer to families, get them to somewhere that's a certified rehabilitation center, which there's so many of them in the country, not a lot, but so many of them. And so I try and communicate with them, see if they've got openings, kind of connect the dots. So I'll work with the caseworker or whoever my contact person is to kind of structure all that. So then once we get that, then we start mapping out the process of, okay, they're going to be in for, it could be 10 days up to, depending on injury, could be months, right? If they were a brain injury, a TBI, they're going to be in for quite a while. So we work around that, make sure they're going to have enough coverage for that, and then we get that, execute. The next step would be, let's get them from point A to the acute rehab. And that's a big one because that's a step that takes and requires a lot of work and requires a lot of money most of the time because it requires an air medical transport. So, and we partner with one that works very well with us, Angel Med, and they help us transport. So they just did our last patient who we're going to talk to later, took him from, East Coast of New Jersey all the way here to Chino, California, and then took him to Pomona to his rehab. So then from there, once they're in rehab, we get we're in tight with a lot of the doctors and a lot of the people at all these facilities, and we work with them to get them the best care, make sure that they're getting the adequate amount of therapy, because sometimes they'll only give you just the minimals. We always push for a little extra. And then if there's medications like in a spinal cord injury, there is a medication that sometimes tends to help a little bit, get some things firing. There's no guarantee, but sometimes it can help. So we try and get that in their system, get that rolling. And then, like with my patient I'm working with right now, as I said, they're all different. I've had to kind of see some of his struggles and some of the things that he's going through, and I'll kind of step in. And I feel bad because rather than just being able to just be his friend and hang out, my mind is, how do I help him? Because my goal is to help him steer himself down the right path instead of going off on this long road and then coming back around later on. So save all that heartache and let's get him there quicker. So I've noticed some things, and I'll say, hey, why don't you try this, or let's talk to the doctor about this, or hey, try that, and kind of just put my 2 cents in. I've got a lot of history in it, not only 28 years myself, but I've worked in all the different industries. I've worked in the wheelchair industry as a professional that fits people for chairs. I know that world very well. I work with clinicians and all that kind of stuff and help them fit people and do orthotics and all different types of things. And so I've got experience with that. I've experience with the driving, and I know you guys are big car guys. Well, funny story, just to get off topic really quick, and we'll get back to that, is I raced circle track after I got paralyzed. I threw myself into this thing called the West Coast Pro Truck Series back in 2000, 2004.
Very familiar.
And so I split it around the half miles and the quarter miles, and had a blast, and it was cool. I got Rookie of the Year the first year, and then I ended up, what was it? I placed in the front many times. I didn't win a race, but I got second, third a few times, and all with a hand control, and it was a blast. So anyways, that was fun. So I have that side of things. I've done a lot of different things. I've done the Ironman, triathlons and stuff. So I bring all of this stuff of working with all these people into what we do and help people just navigate it. I'm like, hey, I don't want you to make the mistake I made. I don't want you to have this problem over here, so go this way. And we didn't have this 25 years ago, so 28 years ago. We didn't have it at all. We had no community, and that's a big part of it. And so I'll help them. Once they get ready to go home, we make sure the home is assessed. I will have assessed them and help them get the proper wheelchair to make sure, because not to say a clinician doesn't know what they're doing. Clinicians are awesome. They do a great job. Their PTs are awesome. But they tend to be a little bit more on the safer side of things, let's put it. And so the wheelchairs are a little bigger, a little bulkier, and things are just a little bit, not so easy to be independent. And so I'll step in and put my little twist on it as long as the therapist is okay, because I understand that these individuals, when they get home, one of the biggest steps for them is going to be their independence, because they got that taken away and robbed from them. So let's give that back. And so at Road to Recovery, that's a big part of what we try and do, is help them find their way, afterwards. And we walk with them. I've got some patients, I've been doing this with Road to Recovery for 8 years now, and I've walked with them for 8 years. We are very tight family friends, and I'm on the speed dial, so they call me if there's an issue, and I navigate it with them. And if I don't have an answer, which I don't always have an answer, I'll find them the answer, and I'll get back to them. But our our biggest next step is getting them independent. So getting them in and out of their car, getting their hand control or lift or whatever device they might need for their car. So we get that all set up. We make sure their home is ready and set up so that when they get home, they're able to use the bathroom, the shower, and get on the bed. I mean, some people's beds are, 8 feet tall, and you're like, there's no way we're going to get on that. So we have to navigate all that stuff. And so there's a lot to it. And then the aftercare is really important because they've got to be careful of pressure sores and different types of things like that. They have bladder issues and bowel problems, and just it's very deep. People think, oh, they're just handicapped, they're just paralyzed, and it's like, no. It's so much gnarlier than that. I give so many people credit that came before me and the people that helped me learn what I've learned, because they just were the best mentors ever. I couldn't, I've got people, Jim Knobbe and David Bailey and Gary Butcher. These guys stepped into my life years ago and showed me how to do it. Yep.
Let's go ahead and take a quick break.
You got it.
See, we didn't need
He's
you
a
in
wealth of knowledge. I would imagine.
What did we bring Jennifer in for?
This
guy's he's got his own radio show.
Well, you're great, Mike. We're going to pay for the bills and then continue with you.
Yeah, so don't leave. We'll be right back. This is Racer Radio, FM 96.1 AM 1170.
The Answer.
All right, folks, welcome back to listen to Racer Radio, FM 96.1 AM 1170.
The Answer.
This segment brought to you by Friends of Jacqueline Foundation. You need to go take a look at this. Friends of Jacqueline, Jaclyn. They help out parents that have got children with brain tumors and just terrible diseases for children. They'll walk you through the program. They'll help you with financial assistance. You can buy some swag, donate some money, do whatever you can. There's nothing worse than having a child that's not doing well. Stress-free auto care, looking for a good repair shop? Go to stressfree.com. They're all over California and I think Nevada and Texas. Warranties clear across the United States. They're open 7 days a week. 888-887-1213. We're talking with Mike Young. He's the
athlete director for Road to Recovery. A wealth of knowledge with a calm voice.
Take over. So we're chatting with him. He's, 28 years in a chair, so he knows what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. And we all in unison said when you got off air, you have the most calming voice for anybody that would be in a situation that you're dealing with. I think it's probably at least 40% of recovery is talking with you. And I think you probably don't even know it. I think it's just a gift that you have. And we're going to talk to you a little bit more. And then I guess we've got Jerry Robbins on the line. Jerry, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How's it going?
Doing not bad at all. So we're going to let Mike finish his thought because I kind of interrupted him.
You had to pay for the bills. And then he'll, introduce Jerry.
All right, Mike.
All right, sound good. Let
her rip, Mike.
No, it's all good, guys. Thank you for everything. Again, thanks for putting this on here, Road Recovery. And like I said, this is a hard but heartfelt job. I love what we do, Jen and I, and our team, Emily and Anita and Jimmy and our whole board, everybody that has something to do with this foundation. It's not a glorious job. But I'll tell you, as we lean into our latest athlete, it's an honor to walk alongside Jerry Robin and his wife, Jennifer Robin, and they are just fantastic individuals. I love them both dearly, and they're going through a lot right now. I mean, their world's been flipped upside down, and it's difficult because as a motocrosser, an ex-motocrosser myself, I know where Jerry's at, and I understand every part of this whole process that he's going through. And Jerry, Jerry came. He's been racing for a long time, but he really, really came on the scene back in 2013, and I remember this because he rode a 28-year-old motorcycle at this event. Wow. It's called the Loretta Lynn's National, and he put it on these guys that all had recent bikes. And you don't do that in this industry. That's just doesn't happen. If you're not on a current bike, you're getting smoked. And he put the whooping on a bunch of guys, and he he went from there and has done a lot. I mean, racing at the level that he races at in AMA Pro Motocross and Supercross, is not easy on a privateer program. Right. And he proves that wrong every week. He's a guy that every week, week in, week out, makes the main events. I mean, to make the main event against the top 20 guys, the top 20 that make it to the main, that's all they take. And it's like three-quarters of those guys, if not 18 of them, are factory riders getting paid six digits or more. And he's in there going, yeah, I'm going to ruffle these guys' feathers today. And so Jerry's unfortunate accident a few weeks ago in New Jersey, really, it was really hard to see, because he's just one of those likable guys that you're just like, he's just a good person, a good human. People love him. And I know why now, because I'm walking the journey with him and I see it, in and out, and he's very driven. And anyways, he's gone through a lot and he's going through a lot, and he's got a long journey ahead of him, but I'll let him explain more about that. And hopefully, Road to Recovery has helped him a little bit. That's all I hope. I hope that we've made a little tiny indentation and we've helped him a little bit.
So, Jerry, we don't need to relive the accident. I think you've done that a time or two.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, and to me, and I think that's where Mike comes in. I mean, if anybody can keep people positive, it's Mike, because I think that's one of the biggest challenges that you have is staying positive and just dealing the cards that have been dealt to you. And, thank God Road to Recovery is in your life. So.
And Jennifer. I just want to give props to his wife as well.
Absolutely, because it's a family.
She's crushing it, man. And honestly, it's just I haven't really had too many bad days. I've had a couple moments, like a why me moment, kind of a couple times here and there. But in general, man, I've been pretty positive since day one, after surgery and stuff like that. It's, I don't know, I'm hopeful I'll make a lot of progress. And I mean, my focus is getting my legs working again someday. So just try my best as PT and kind of try to hopefully get things firing off again in my legs. And we're out here in Pomona putting in a lot of work at Casa Colina, and man, just trying to get better.
Yeah, well, and that's you have to let's face it, you have to face what you have to face. And you just stay positive. Yeah, you're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. But, with the support of family and a group like these guys, how could you not? So I guess you have a regiment, and for somebody, let's say you run into a kid that has the same problem you have. What's some advice you could give them once they enter this road to recovery?
I would just say, honestly, because I started journaling and kind of what I wanted out of myself, write down your goals and the effort level you want to put in, and really focus on that. And I don't know, for me, that's always what's helped me, even before this injury with racing, is just writing down your goals,
right,
and sticking to that plan. So. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of mental strain more than anything, because it's obviously, I'm trying to learn how to put on socks, and it's shoes or something like that. So it's it's so simple, the stuff that you guys wouldn't even, or I didn't even think twice about. And now it's I'm breaking a sweat putting on socks. So it's kind of, it's a lot more humbling experience than I expected it to be,
right,
by far.
And it's frustrating. I'm sure it's frustrating when you're so used to putting a pair of shoes and socks on. Now it's a challenge, and it could take 15, maybe 20 minutes to put on a pair of socks, where before it was seconds. Well, I think I mentioned this earlier in the show, and thank God I've not had to go through what you two guys have gone through, and I look up to you tremendously, and I try to give back. That's why we're doing the show. That's why we will continue to do the show. This is why we'll try to educate the masses the best way. But I've always had it in my head that things that happen to you and Mike, there's always a reason. And I hate, it sounds kind of simple, but it's not. And look, if Mike hadn't have had his accident, Road to Recovery wouldn't be here today. Okay?
Yeah.
So you could be a phenomenal ambassador to Road to Recovery, because
totally.
you've done exactly the same thing. So, and Mike seems to kind of like you a little bit, so that's helpful. And because there's going to be a lot more kids, behind you, they're going to have this terrible situation thrown in their face.
It's funny you bring that up because he is known for making the most of every opportunity. For someone to show up in 2013 riding a 1985, he makes things happen. He's kind of known. I think that's why so many people loved him, because he makes it happen. And now I know you write down your goals and
absolutely
you have it in you.
Yeah, I'm in general a pretty driven individual for stuff like that. So it's I don't know. It's kind of been instilled in me since I was a kid, I guess, with my parents and how I grew up and stuff. So, I try to stick to that, and it works for me. So,
did I hear you said you were writing a journal?
Yeah, I journal a little bit and kind of just write down goals or what was good about the day and stuff like that.
Okay,
I know where you're going with this, Dave.
We bring a lot of kids into radio, that are motorsports. Whether we had a 4-year-old motocrosser, what was his name?
Milo.
I think he won 5 races. Okay, he's 4 years old. And I swear I'm going to do this. I got to go out and buy a stack of diaries and give every kid a diary and say, every night before you go to bed, write a page. Yeah. Write a page. And then when you get 40 years old, you got a bestseller. You have a movie. Because every one of us, our lives, if we could capture them on paper, someone's going to totally enjoy it. And I think...
Oh, totally.
Jerry's already got a few chapters written.
Yeah, you've already got a few chapters already in your head.
Like a little kid, they have so much imagination and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it absolutely is. The only problem we had with Milo is he wouldn't say anything. And radio, that's a little bit of a detriment when you don't talk.
Oh no, he did. He did say, "Get away," to his sister.
Oh yeah, to his sister.
That's funny.
So where? Okay, so this has only been 2 weeks, so you don't even, or 4 weeks or so. So you don't really have any prognosis. All you have to do is just stick with what the doctors are prescribing. And it sounds like you probably got a good team working with you.
Yeah. So it's just therapy pretty much 7 days a week is what I ask for. They usually only do 5, but I try to just get in 7 just to do more. But yeah, man, it's just kind of doing what his name's Dr. Patterson, my rehab doctor here, and it's I think a minimum of 4 weeks, and I'm I think 10 days in right now, so I think they do a reassessment next week for me to see if I'm going to stay here longer or where I'm at, progress wise, just learning how to get in and out of the chair, into bed, in the shower, stuff like that.
Did you damage the spinal cord, or did you
Yeah, I had bone fragments.
Oh, okay.
In the spinal cord and stuff like that. But because I had a burst fracture in my T5, I believe.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So they already went in and cleaned all that out?
Yeah, and they were able to fully straighten my back and take all the pressure off my spinal cord.
Oh, good.
Which is good. Yeah. They were only unable to get one bone fragment out, but it's not in my spinal cord. It's just it was jammed in a weird spot.
Yeah.
And my surgeon didn't feel comfortable doing it. And he got opinions from 5 other neurosurgeons, and they all said to not do another surgery.
Okay.
And just let the bone dissolve. So.
Oh. Wow.
So that's kind of their hope with it, is by the time, I get this back brace off and get some muscle contractions back, hopefully the bone will just be dissolved.
Now, I know you have a lot of fans, and they don't all know you personally. Do you mind hearing from them? And if so, how can they, just reach out to you?
Words of encouragement.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Instagram's probably my most used platform.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the easiest. I'm the most active on Instagram, and I've been trying to read everything and reply, but it's honestly, I mean, in the first week, I probably had 10,000 messages or more. It was insane.
I have this many friends?
Yeah. The industry really came together for me, honestly. The donations and all the stories and people reaching out was pretty unbelievable.
Wow. Anybody in particular you want to give a shout out to?
I
put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
Exactly. I had some of like my like idols reach out to me, like Eli Tomac and stuff like that. Yeah, like stuff like that. So it was pretty cool for me in that sense of things. So.
Wow. If they reach out again, just tell them, don't worry, I'm coming back.
Yeah, right.
Get ready.
Yep.
Keep practicing.
I mean, if I'm ever, a miracle happens and I can walk again, I will most likely never ride a dirt bike.
Yeah, probably.
Ever again. So.
Yeah. Probably
not really worth the risk.
All right. So, hey, hang in there, you two. I'm going to take a quick break because we're almost done, unfortunately, with this, this show. We've been here 6 hours, and you guys are rocking through here faster than anything yet.
Michael Lindsay, too.
Yeah.
I know. Racer Radio, FM 96.1 AM 1170.
The Answer. All right, welcome back to Racer Radio, our final segment, Friends of Jacqueline Foundation and Hacienda Casablanca Mexican Restaurant and Cantina. It's a party. I mean, Dave left.
Here.
Dave left, but Jen is still here, and I think we have 3 callers right now. We have them all. We have Mike Young, and thank you, Mike Young, and the calming voice he has.
Yes. And Jerry Robin.
Jerry. And then, I don't know, was that a surprise for Jerry that his buddy's on?
Michael Lindsay.
Michael Lindsay. And Jen, you were filling me in about Michael Lindsay during the commercial break. Can we share it with the listeners and then listen hear from, Michael Lindsay?
So Michael Lindsay works with Vital MX, and Michael, I can't remember what your job title is, but you've been there for a minute. So Michael and Jerry are good friends, and when Michael learned that Jerry was hurt, he went out and got a bunch of really amazing swag, signed jerseys, signed helmets, like amazing, and a large amount of it.
Nice.
And is working with MX Throttle to do a huge auction, and I'll let Michael tell you more about the auction specifically, and then there's some story about somebody sleeping on somebody's couch or something.
Shucks.
So you'll have.
I didn't know you were going there too, Jen.
Maybe if there's time, Michael, you
can't leave you two alone for 5 minutes.
I tried to warn you. Welcome, Michael Lindsay.
How goes it?
Not doing too bad. How about you?
Tired. Just almost back home. Finale of Supercross season was this weekend in Salt Lake. So me and my coworker and my girlfriend are just driving back from the race. We're just about back down into we're in SoCal, but we're almost home to Marietta area. But
okay.
Thank you for making time.
Appreciate that. You'll sleep good. You'll sleep good tonight.
Yeah, something like that. We've got a lot of work. I actually got a truck. Speaking of auction, I've got a truck bed right now full of bags of the last. Not quite. There's a couple things coming in, but I would say the last 30% of what we were getting for the auction I hand picked up at the race this weekend, and that's kind of what we've been doing the last couple weeks. Some riders have been mailing directly to us, and then a lot of them just me and my staff travel to every race, so we've just been collecting the last couple weekends with the help of most of our people. A man named Jake Manata, who's the what is it you would call, not a preacher, I guess he is, at all the races, and a couple of the brands, some of the gear brands, their reps and stuff have been helping us just deal with riders. And I think we're off to do the cataloging tomorrow. We're going to end up somewhere over 200 items for the auction.
Wow.
Maybe a little bit, maybe closer to 250. I got to re-inventory everything tonight. Honestly, some teams dropped off more stuff than I was expecting this weekend. I looked like a crazy fan at the end of the night walking through this. I had trash bags full of gear and plastics and helmets, and I look like a crazy person that runs around the races and asks for stuff.
So is this going to be an online auction, or is it going to be a live auction?
Online, it'll go for 10 days. It'll start next Friday, and it'll run for actually a little over 10 days. It runs till not the next Monday, but the following Monday, which is through our first round of Pro Motocross, Road2Recovery's upcoming golf tournament. It runs past that, but it goes through a website called mxlocker.com, which is kind of like a motorsports-specific version of eBay. They've partnered together on some of these auctions, and they help out, by waiving fees and things like that to help us do all the listings. And then, I work for a large media company called Biomex, so we're taking care of all the asset creation, just getting all the stuff gathered, shot photos, and then he'll all go live next Friday.
So it's mxlocker, LOCKER.com?
Yes.
And
Yep,
that
yep,
goes
they're
live
more up-to-date.
next Monday. Is that the 19th, I believe, May?
No, we're starting Friday, this
Oh, I don't
upcoming
know.
Friday,
I'm
and then
so
it runs
sorry.
through the following Monday. No worries.
Oh, following Monday. That was what I got. The following Monday.
Okay, so the date of that
As bad
is
as my students. Friday the 16th.
Jen might have the calendar. I don't know if Jen has a calendar. I don't have a calendar in front of me, so I hate it.
What do you got, Jen?
It'll be on
our the week.
It'll be on Road to Recovery's website.
I see Friday the 16th is an upcoming Friday.
Yeah, Friday 16th, and then it doesn't run through the next Monday. It runs through the Monday after. It's a little over 10 days total. It kind of runs through like our sports off weekend between the two series championships, so everybody's got a little more time to breathe and work on things. So we've got an off weekend upcoming we can work on and get this thing up and running.
Well, here's the other thing I'll do for you as well, because it seems to be quite popular. I'll have Britney or somebody get my email to you, or if you got, or I can.
All right, I'll do it right now.
You take care of it
to Jen, and Jen will give it to him.
Okay,
Yes.
and then what I'll donate, and you can do 1, 2, 3, whatever. 1 hour of radio free on Racer Radio, KCBQ. If they have a business or whatever they have,
that's awesome.
Makes no difference to me. I'll donate an hour. We're podcasted around the world. We're a 50,000 watt station, and like I said, put any price on it you want. Doesn't make any difference to me. I've sold them as much as $2,500 and as little as $500. So when I can send you I'll send Jen a press kit. So it's a pretty big deal, and then they get to dance with Brittany and I.
Oh, we're dancing. All right.
Dancing.
And interviewing for an hour.
And interviewing as well.
Awesome.
And
Okay.
it's just it's real simple that you don't have to put it in a trash bag. I'll just send it to you on a piece of paper.
Which a trash bag? One I kept out of a trash bag. So like I would say one of the funniest things is I was going down the list of unique items we ended up with. So anybody that's a motocross fan, you'll recognize jerseys and helmets and stuff from riders like Cooper Webb and Ken Rocks and some of the top guys in the sport. A couple weird ones though. A friend of ours knows a lot of people in MMA. If you're a big UFC guy, we got a set of signed gloves from Dustin Poirier.
Ooh.
And then another friend, actually another mechanic we know who's also good friends with Jerry, was able to kind of achieve his lifelong dream. He's a wrestling fan. He met Stone Cold Steve Austin this last weekend and had 2 custom jerseys made with like Stone Cold Steve Austin's logo and stuff on it, and he had one signed to Jerry. So random.
Oh my gosh! Oh.
I'm not a wrestling guy, but I feel like everybody knows who.
Yeah.
duh.
Now, did Jerry know that? Jerry's on our online
I don't know,
still.
Jerry, I think Rankin might have sent him a message.
Yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I remember I grew up watching WWE with my brother like all the time, and he was my favorite wrestler.
Okay, now Jerry, don't go
Jerry.
don't go bidding on that,
don't
Jerry.
Go bidding on that.
Oh, I know.
You will.
I wish I could just give one personally.
Yeah.
It was to me, kind of.
I'm sure somebody might get the word to him.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Whoever bids on it, then gives it to Jerry.
Yeah, give it to Jerry. That'd be the thing.
That's a good call.
Yeah, I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin's legendary.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Davey Coombs will do that for him, huh?
That's
Just
amazing.
saying,
Yeah,
just
a
throwing it out
friend of
there.
ours drove. We were up at Salt Lake. He got in a car and drove 3 or 4 hours to the middle of nowhere in Nevada because Stone Cold Steve Austin is into side-by-side racing now, which
really?
Kawasaki and Maxxis sponsor, and that guy, his team are both sponsored by those companies, so they lined it up. He drove 4 hours in the middle of, like, out that evening to the middle of nowhere in Nevada where Austin's doing a race this weekend and got to, meet him, sit down, and, yeah, he had told me he had these 2 custom jerseys made. Originally, one was going to be for himself, and I think one was to give to Austin. He ended up, the one that he had for himself, he gave for Jerry for the auction.
That's awesome. While we're talking money, just a reminder, Road to Recovery, they're inviting you Sunday, May 25th for a fun round of golf with some of the top names in Supercross and Motocross. So I wanted to remind you, go to their website for the details. If you follow me personally, I've put that link on there already.
Road2, the number 2, recovery.com.
Yes, that's going to be in Marietta. Oh, that's where they're offering the brand new BMW for the first person to get a hole-in-one.
It's in Temecula. It's at Legends Golf Course in Temecula, California.
And I want to thank Boris Said for setting up the BMW.
Yep.
Curly.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah. He's got curly hair, too.
Oh, yeah.
Is
Some
that what
people
makes him
wish they
cool?
had that area.
You know, I introduced him to his wife.
Oh,
Did you
okay,
really?
that's
Sure
a
did.
side note I'd like to. I wish we had another segment
Little
now
insight.
between that and the bed. I don't know. Jen, was there any last things?
Yes.
Unfortunately, this hour's coming to an end, but we know we're going to hear from Road to Recovery again. I hope Jerry
You got
again,
2
too.
minutes.
So
It's all yours.
Thank you. Thanks. So Road to Recovery. This is the 5th annual Whiskey Throttle golf tournament that we've done with David Pingree, Whiskey Throttle.
Right.
This is a special one because we are honoring Jerry this year. So a large amount of proceeds will go to his athlete fund. And coming out to play are Levi Kitchen, Julian Beaumere, Jeremy McGrath's going to come out, Ronnie Renner, Cameron McAdoo. There's a bunch. I have a huge list. Chase Sexton, Adam Cianciarillo. So a bunch. Anyway, also you can still buy foursomes online, road2recovery.com. And there's still sponsorships available.
Is it only golfers? What if there are spectators? Can they buy into this or not?
I think spectators are welcome, but I think
You got to hit the ball.
Yeah, come out and golf. Come on.
Come on. I can't because the ball's too small. What is this gone?
And then after the golf tournament, we are doing another big event to raise money for Road to Recovery. That's the NICKY HAYDEN Ride and Festival, and that's going to be at Blackmore Ranch in Marietta, California.
That'll be huge.
That's going to be a big one and super fun. So,
right.
And that's open to the public. It's going to be amazing. Hot
All
air
right, so
balloon
you
rides.
still nervous?
I'm feeling
You
a little
did a
better.
great
Now I'm just
job.
nervous for traffic on the way home.
You knocked out an hour.
And Michael, and Jerry, don't be
Thank you very
strangers.
much. Yeah,
We
don't
want
be strangers.
updates
So much,
from
you guys.
you.
But you got to call Brittany to come on the radio. I have no control.
It's all mine.
I get yelled at if I try to overschedule it.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, guys. You're doing God's work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You guys have a good day.
All right,
You too.
too.
Thank
All
you.
right, this is Racer Radio, FM 96.1 AM 1170.
The answer.